Hi, and welcome to In the Front Row, all things reactions, reviews, and interviews. My name's Jamie Lee, and today I'll be doing a review of The Last of Us episode 8, titled When We Are in Need. Wowee, this episode had me on edge from the start all the way through to the end. I was just this nervous wreck. There's something so creepy but also mysteriously intriguing about religious cults, probably why Far Cry 5 is one of my favorite Far Cry games, but I'm not going to go off on that tangent. We open this episode with a sneak peek into this religious group. There's a sign on the wall that says when we are in need, which is the episode's title, he shall provide. And there's kind of a double meaning in that, because in the religious sense, he is referring to God. He will provide. But in this physical sense in the show, I feel like they're referring to Preacher David. He is the provider of this group. So we open this episode with Preacher David giving a sermon on hope, faith, and future. And we come to learn that this religious group are desperately trying to find food in the winter time. They've got little rations left, and they're really struggling to find food and on the edge of starvation. We then cut to Ellie, who's in a very similar situation where she has very little food, and the little amount of food that she does have, she's trying to share with Joel so that she can get him back to full strength and help out his recovery process. But hunger is not her only issue with Joel, because she looks at the wound and it's starting to become infected. So she's really worried that the infection's going to spread, he'll get a fever, he'll get sick, things like this. So she has to worry about health and she has to worry about hunger. Because of that, she decides to leave Joel and go out hunting to try and get some food to speed up his recovery process. With some sheer luck, Ellie happens to find a deer in the woods and shoots it, and it staggers off and lands at the feet of Preacher David and his right-hand man, James, who Ellie refers to as
Buddy Boy,
who are out in the woods doing the same thing as Ellie. Ellie is her usual sassy self, who threatens to put a bullet between their ears if they don't leave the deer alone and let her take it back to Joel. But Preacher David proposes a deal. In exchange for half the deer, Ellie can get some medicine to help Joel out. Hesitantly, James heads back to the settlement to get the medicine for Ellie, which gives Preacher David and Ellie some private time so they can discuss the past, which I had to laugh at.
So you went from teacher to preacher because what, it fucking rhymes?
I thought that was really funny. They talk about religion, cordyceps, the future, and what it takes to be a leader. Through their dialogue around the campfire, we come to learn that the raider that Joel killed in the previous episode happens to be one of Preacher David's members of this cult, and also is the father to one of the young girls that was at the settlement. So the group back there really want Joel and Ellie to be brought to justice for what they did to one of the members of their group. So Buddy Boy returns with the medicine, but he also returns with a gun to Ellie's head, which is kind of predictable. We knew that was going to come at some point. But Preacher David offers her mercy, gives her the medicine, and lets her return to Joel. Meanwhile, my brain is going into overdrive thinking all of these different things, like, why is he wasting the medication? Why doesn't he just take Ellie back to the settlement now? Why are they even going to track Joel down when they know that he's probably going to die anyway because he needs medicine desperately, and he was just shanked in the last episode, which they know. So they know that he's not in a good way, not in good shape. So why bother? And like, do you want Joel to come back and be the leader? Why do you want Ellie? God damn it. Tell me what your intentions are, man. I don't know if I'm allowed to say God damn it in this episode because it's a religious episode. But anyway, tell me your intentions, man. Anyway, so Ellie heads back to Joel, and we get that awesome scene of her giving him the injection of the antibiotics, which I didn't watch because I can't do needles. When I get injected, it's either by a nurse and I pass out, or it's by my husband because I can't look at that stuff. So I didn't look at this, but I thought it was really funny because all I heard was Ellie going, God damn it, Joel, where do I put it? Where do I put this? And I thought that was really cute because, again, it's something that she hasn't experienced in her life before, like many other things that we've seen in the other episodes. After she gives him the antibiotics, she heads outside to give the horse some water, where she sees David and his group tracking them down, trying to find Joel. So she goes back in, gives Joel a knife, and warns him of what's to come and begs him to find the strength to protect himself. So riding off on the horse, Ellie starts shooting at David's men to try and lure them away from Joel's location and to steer them in a different direction. She does a pretty good job of it, all up until James shoots the horse, which sends Ellie flying. Kind of funny scene, even though it's a little bit sad. She gets knocked out, And although David had told his group that he wants to keep Ellie and Joel alive and bring them back to their settlement, James has her lined up ready to shoot her with the other men encouraging him to do it, right up until David interjects, and he tells them that if they want justice, go and find Joel, take it out on him because we're taking the girl back with us. Again, my brain's going, why? Why don't you just kill them? Why do you need these people? You know there's only 2. You know there's not a big group. Why would you risk everything? Just kill them. One of the raiders end up finding Joel's location. We see the bloodied bed, which is empty. Don't know what's scarier. And the whole time I'm just thinking like, oh, are they going to catch him? Are they going to take him back to the settlement? Are they going to do God knows what to him? What is going to happen? But all of that is put to rest because Joel just puts a knife in his neck so boldly, like just blunt, not the knife, but just so badass, just stabs him in the neck and kills him. We need to keep in mind here that Joel is not in good shape. He himself has been shanked. He's fighting off an infection. He hasn't eaten in God knows how long. His strength would be incredibly low, and yet he managed to kill someone. But he doesn't stop there. No. He heads outside and fights the other 2 men, or attacks these other 2 men, and keeps them hostage in order to find out where they've taken Ellie. And you can call me a weirdo all you like, but I absolutely loved this interrogation scene, I guess you could call it. Joel was just going to town on these guys, brutally beating them so coldly, and it was amazing to watch. Again, I'm sorry if that makes me sound weird. He didn't like something that the guy said, so he just casually stabbed him in the kneecap. Popped him one in the knee. He was just so brutal and so cold, which showed what he's capable of doing in order to find Ellie. They then gave us a callback to the last episode where he used a similar interrogation technique on that elderly couple at the cabin. He was going to use the same interrogation technique with these 2 guys in order to find out where she was, but he didn't need to do that because the guy told him, and he clearly believed him because he just killed him. Just stabbed him and killed him, which of course set the other raider who was being held hostage into overdrive. He started to panic, saying things like,
I ain't telling you shit.
And as cold as ice, Joel just replies with,
Okay, no, I believe him. No.
And then suddenly Joel turned into Negan and just Lucille'd him on the head. If you're not a Walking Dead fan, that basically means that he used a baseball bat to kill the guy. And many memories came flooding back into my mind, and I just thought, what a badass. I know it's bad. I know it's wrong. I enjoyed the scene. I'm not going to lie. Yep. I'm a weirdo. We've established that. I'm moving on. Over at the settlement, Ellie is locked up in this cage, and she discovers that the way that Preacher David is providing for his people is that he is turning them into cannibals by making them eat human meat. David proposes that Ellie join the group and become a leader like he is, because he can see similarities of him in Ellie. For example, they both have what it takes to be a leader. They both have violent hearts, and he thinks that's what makes them compatible. Ellie attacks him. I can't remember if she bites him or scratches him on the hand, but she basically uses that as a really good scare tactic to make him think that he has the cordyceps virus, because obviously when we look at her arm, she has the bite mark there. So he thinks, or they think, that she's infected. So that's a really cool scare tactic to use. Ellie then brutally takes a meat cleaver to James's neck, and that is just badass as hell. And then she scrambles off into the steakhouse in order to try and escape. She sets the curtains alight to try and burn down this place in order to scare David off, but he enjoys the chase. He likes the thrill of the chase, so that didn't scare him off at all. In fact, it probably made him more excited. He has her locked in this steakhouse with no way out. Basically, she has to go through him or to him in order to try and get out of the burning building. So that's exactly what she tries to do. She lunges at him with the knife. She does stab him, but he ends up pinning her down on the ground and begins to do some disturbing and extremely dark things to her, which thankfully we don't see, because Ellie, this boss badass, just goes to town on him and starts stabbing him out of panic, out of rage, whatever it is. She just goes to town on this guy, just stabbing him like a pincushion, and it was incredible. It was so rewarding, because I said at the start of this episode that I was on edge the entirety of this episode, and in this scene specifically, I was like, oh my god, no, like, you can't let this happen. This cannot happen. And I was panicking for poor Ellie, and the whole time all I kept thinking was, where's Joel? Hurry up, Joel, please save her, Joel. But it was extremely rewarding to have her protect herself, to have her defend herself. And I feel like in a way this was a little bit of a callback to a line that was used earlier in the episode where Ellie makes an excuse for Joel killing off one of David's men. She says that he was just defending himself, and David turns around and says,
He was defending you.
so I thought it was amazing to think that in this moment I was begging for Joel to come and defend her, to come and protect her, but she didn't need his help. She could defend herself all on her own. She could protect herself all on her own. And I know that she shouldn't need to, like, honestly, she should never have been in that situation, and it's horrible that she was, but she is a boss and she can fight back. We then see her stumble out of the steakhouse covered in blood. Well, not actually covered. She wasn't as covered as I expected her to be, because she was really going to town on this guy and I expected a lot more blood. But anyway, she was partially covered in blood, stumbles on out, and Joel comforts her like this.
Okay, baby girl. I got you. I got you.
Baby girl, my heart. Anyway, very sweet moment, and it's beautiful to see how far they've actually come over the course of these 8 episodes. Anyway, that's how we end this episode, with the two of them embracing each other and just walking far away from this deranged cult. And I shouldn't say that, because technically these people didn't necessarily know that they were eating human meat, so they weren't necessarily deranged. They were just following the leader, you know, sheep following the shepherd, I guess. But regardless, bye. So this episode shocked me in many, many ways. Firstly, I totally enjoy when a series is bold enough to say this.
You little cunt.
Especially to a kid. It's not often that you hear that word used, and I get a good laugh when I do hear it, I'm not gonna lie, but it really makes me think that these shows are bold enough to take risks when they do things like that. The next thing that shocked me was the cannibalism. We literally saw these decapitated bodies just being drained of blood, ready to be made as meals. It was terrifying and scary to think that in desperate times what people might do. But then they go even darker by insinuating that this man of God is this violent, disgusting, deranged, messed up, creepy, like every horrible descriptive word that you could think of, this guy is a child abuser. He's a child predator. And I just can't believe that the show went that dark. I did not expect that in this episode. It really was an episode that shocked me. I was on edge the whole time, questioning things and wondering about what's going to happen next. Is this preacher David, a man of God, a good man? What do they really want from Ellie? Will Joel recover? Will Ellie join this group? Pre-cannibalism, obviously. But the whole entire episode, I was just questioning the intent and questioning the aftermath. Like, what would happen after, or what would happen if? And just the episode was shocking, firstly, but also it was really suspenseful. It gave me like a thrill to watch it, I guess you could say. And I like that. I don't like, though, that next week is the last episode, so there's 1 episode left. I'm a bit bummed out about that, because I've loved every single episode of this, and I really enjoy every week, like, having something really good to look forward to. Very surprising, doesn't happen very often, but The Walking Dead's coming back soon, so everything's going to be fine. Anyway, so I'm really bummed out that there's only 1 episode left. Anyway, if you've watched this episode, let me know your thoughts on it in the comments section below. And if you could you please give this video a like? And if you're not already, please subscribe to my channel, and then head on over to my Instagram and give me a follow over there as well, please. Okay, sweet as. Have a good day. Bye.